Hi, welcome to Laguna Tools. My name is Jay Andrews. Today we're going to talk about table saws. Now many of you already know us for our TS and TSS series table saws, and I've come to appreciate some of the features that you have with this, like the sliding table. Today we're going to talk about a new breed of saws though, and it's our new Platinum series table saw. Let's introduce you to our Platinum series table saws right now. And here you're going to notice that we have two different saws set up, and these are both Platinum series table saws. And from the outside they look very, very similar, and in many cases they are. There's a lot of features that they share, like the fin systems, the miter gauge systems on the saws, but there's some subtle differences, and most of those are on the inside. Today what we'll talk about first is a lot of the features that you'll see on both of the saws, and then we'll have a look at the inside of the saws to see what the differences are. One of the foundations for a good table saw is a perfect work surface. And you notice that we have plenty of cast iron here on the work surfaces on the Platinum series table saws. And you'll notice that the cast iron is quite finely finished here. We start off with a raw casting that they season. They actually will age the cast iron to let the molecules slow down and stop. And then we begin the machining process and a heat treating process for the cast iron. The cast iron then is ground perfectly flat. And you notice that the extension wings on both the right hand side and left hand side of the table saws have a nice meeting area here. And it gives you a nice smooth transition from one side to the other. When these tabletops are milled, we actually will mill in the miter slot, and it's a standard 3/8 by 3/4 inch miter slot. It's also formatted as a T-slot to allow you to use different types of fixtures that will lock into the T-slot. For example, a miter gauge or a crosscut sled that uses a washer on the bottom. You'll also notice that on the table saw here where we're talking about the top, you'll notice that the throat plate insert actually has a screw that will screw right into the cast iron, and little leveling screws that allow you to go through and level your throat plate insert so that it's flush with the tabletop surface. One of the standout features on the Platinum series table saws is the Easy Glide fin system. And you notice how easily this fin system moves back and forth across the table surface, and I'll show you how accurate this is in just a moment here. Let's look at a few of the components on the fin system to show you why it's such a standout feature. First of all, one of the most obvious things on this is the actual rails or the fin surface itself. And this is a UHMW plastic, and it provides a very slick and smooth surface so that your workpieces can slide very easily against the fence without binding. The other thing is it's a very smooth and durable and stable surface so that you don't get any deflection on it during working. The other thing you'll notice is that it's all steel construction from the rail to the front rail. It's all steel construction and casting on the handles and on the knuckle assembly here. Now let's have a look at the front part of the fence system right here. First of all, you can see how easy it glides. And it glides back and forth on a steel rail, and the rail is actually bolted to the table surface, and it's adjustable to make sure that it's level with the cast iron work surface. Now it glides so easily here because it has nylon runners on the inside. And let's have a look at those. You're going to see that there's a nylon button on the front as well as on the top and on the back side, and these are adjustable with little knurled knobs that allow you to go through and set the position and then lock them down so that the fence doesn't move. Let's look over here at the handle assembly. The handle assembly, of course, is steel on the frame, and it has a cast surface, and it actually has a built-in magnet on the inside here. The magnet does two things. First of all, it'll hold the handle in the up position so that when you move the fence, it's out of the way. And secondly, the locking tab for the fence that rides against the rail is held back, and so it doesn't drag when you move the fence system back and forth. Let's have a look at the inside of the fence. I'm going to lift it off, and you'll see how easily it flips off. Flips over, and you'll see the nylon runners on the inside. You'll see the nylon buttons on the inside here as well, and you can see the knurled knobs. And let's just drop this back in place. You'll see that the fence system comes on and off the saw very easily, and it makes it easy to accomplish just a whole host of tasks in your workshop. The Platinum series table saw features what is called a T-square fence system, and it's called that because the fence represents a T or looks very similar to a T. And it allows you to lock the fence in and keep it square to the saw. Now I've had some inexpensive saws over the years, and one of the features that I disliked about most of those saws was the fence system. And they had a number of different problems. One of the things that tends to be very frustrating is that when you're moving the fence back and forth, that it'll come out of square and won't square up until you lock the handle down. And they'll have play just like that did. Now, one of the standout features on this fence is the fact that this bracket comes up the back, across the top, and then down the front to capture the fence on the front rail. And I'm going to go through and adjust these so you can see just how nice of a feature that is. Now right now you'll see that this has quite a bit of play, and that's because I've backed off the little nylon adjusters here. Now the way that I like to set these is I take the Allen wrench and I'll begin to run those in as I slide the fence back and forth until I just get it snug down where it glides easily but locks the fence in. Now these will actually capture the fence and get it somewhat square, and then I'll lock these knobs in place, and that'll allow the fence to move quite easily back and forth but not allow it to have any play. And then finally when you lock it down, it'll actually square it to the blade. Now there are adjusters in the back that you set for your initial adjustment to make sure that the face of the fence is exactly parallel with the blade. One of the other features that you're going to notice while we're here is the hairline readout. And the hairline readout reads to the tape. It is adjustable, and I'm going to show you what that adjustment is for a little bit later when we actually install the tape on the other saw over here that has the tape off of it.